everyone. Hello. Wow. Okay. There's some random moment there where I was just bending over in a shirt. That was awkward. Anyway, hello everyone. Welcome to the ESL Weekly Cup number 84. I am alone this evening in what could be a very interesting cup because we have just had the massive trait apocalypse of which has just come into play. We're wondering what's going to go on. What are players running? What are they getting involved with in here? And are we going to see some different things used? Are we going to see some necros? Are we going to see some different builds? And as you have been playing and I have been playing, we know that this is going to be the case. We know that there's some very powerful stuff going on. We know conditions are back and we know that they're real. So today we're going to do it a little bit differently. We're going to go through the builds, but they're going to be very matter of fact. It's going to be, this is a Condi build, this is a power build, and then we'll try and look at it at different points of the game, because I will be on my own and it's going to be a lot to carry, but we're going to be all good. We're going to be all good, guys. So, let's have a look at who we've got today. We have got TCG versus Red Team. Of course, Red Team are going to be on the Blue Team, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Absolutely not. So, what we're going to do is we're going to go through the Blue Team first. Oh, hello, Sailor. I've got no one else to type that in chat, and I can't type and speak. Apparently I have issues. Guns and Tools is going to be the first member to be gone through in the new trait lines. He feels very special right now. He's playing Engineer. Looks like he's going with grenades, a toolkit, elixir gun, and mortar kit. If you have not been involved in, wow, this is fancy. I've not been able to check this out today, and it was bugged yesterday, and it looks fancy. It looks rather large as well. Going for a Hullbreak Rune Celestial Rifle with energy and intelligence. So not much has changed other than the fact that he's gone for Mortar Kit and Elixir Gun, so there's no Slick Shoes up in here. He's gone for Explosives, Inventions, and Alchemy. Engineer is something I've been looking at a lot, and I play Engineer as well. Alchemy and Inventions are very, very survivable. We're probably not going to see much more of speedy kits anymore and the invigorating speed and whatnot, and he's gone for mecha legs, so we're not going to watch the vigor coming back on him obviously when he's getting those kits enabled. He's gone for backpack regenerator though, so he's still going to be getting HP through that. He's gone for shrapnel. We're still going to be getting a lot of conditions out of this as well. Obviously, I think he did actually check to Berserkers very quickly. He might even be switching the builds as we speak. Bunker Down is now very, very much different. You do get the proximity mine still, but you get a med kit as well. So when you do some nice damage, you get some healing potential as well, you know. So he's going to be able to survive quite nicely. Iron Blooded, still not sure about this trait, so incoming damage is reduced for each boon on you. The option to go for HGH is there as well to build up some more might stacks in combination with that Hullbreak Rune, but not going to choose that actually. He's going to go for that instead. Going for Protection Injection, still very nice. Grenadiers already has indeed changed. Aim Assistant Rocket is apparently very powerful. Not had much time to test that out myself, but there you go, Shrapnel as well. It's going to take a long time to go through these builds, isn't it? Say in the chat, guys. Yeah, I'll change the overlay. My bad. It is actually supposed to not be that size, so we will change it to small. So apologies for that. If you want to see these builds in depthly, or if you don't want to see them in depthly, just put something in the chat. But I want to go through some of these and just let you know. Now, I've talked to Frostwar about Mesmer today. Domination, dueling, and inspiration. Inspiration being something where you can actually use your mantras to Condi cleanse, and you can also use your mantras to do some nice healing. And he's gone for the extra. Where is it? Where's that trait gone? There you go. Harmonious mantras, where you can get an extra charge on your mantras as well. So more healing, more interrupts as well coming out from Power Lock, of course. And interrupt mesmers are going to be very strong. You do a lot of damage from them, coming out with Confounding Suggestions, which is obviously a stun whenever you daze a target. So stun can set up your burst quite nicely. Shatter skills also remove a boon on hit, something which has stayed since the last meta as well. Obviously Power Block. And we've gone through most of the rest of the build. Temporal Enchant are going very well with the Time Warp as well, because normally it's quickness and slow, but now you get super speed and resistance as well if you have another Glamour, and that's exactly what should happen around the portal. We want to see the builds. Of course you want to see the builds, so that you must understand that maybe that these guys want to play as well, and I don't want to keep them waiting for too long. Elementalist is not something I've been looking at too much, but we're going to have a look quickly. Fire Water and Arcane. He's gone for Blinding Ashes, so he's gone 3-2-3 in the fire attunement line, so he's gone for Burning Fire. So, oh dear, using Cleansing Fire automatically when you have a number of conditions on you. Okay, that's nice. One with Fire Auras you apply last longer and grant Might applied. So this is going to be the Might stacking tree, obviously. It's going to be doing some blind as well. If we go into Water, sorry, he's gone for Stop, Drop and Roll. So dodge rolling removes burning and chills from you. Now burning is very strong at the moment with the combis that are coming out. Soothing Disruption, not much of a change there, and Cleansing Water, of course, we've seen before. And then Arcane, he's going for Renewing Stamina, he's going for Elemental Contingency, and then he's also going for Evasive Arcana. So not a massive amount of difference in those traits there, but going for the Hullbreak Rune, and he is going for the Focus, so that's where the Reflex are going to come out, and pretty nicely in this build. And I know people are going to go mental. Okay, they are... We're going to go through one team and then we're going to go through it after. They've been waiting a long time, so I'm very paranoid. I want to go through this though. Going to be playing DP, going to be going with the Marauder Amulet, of course. Berserker's gone into Marauder. Berserker has now got no Fatality. Rune of Vampirism. Then we've got him going into Deadly Arts, Shadow Arts, and Trickery, with Executioner as the main trait of this build, as well as Shadow's Rejuvenation and Sleight of Hand. We're going to go over to the last member who's going to be playing an Elementalist as well, and he's going to be playing Staff with the Rune of the Pirates and also the Celestial Amulet. I'm going to go a bit quicker now, going through Earth. He's going for Stone Hearts, which is pretty strong actually, so you cannot be critically hit while attuned to Earth. So obviously when they realise that their burst combos are coming out, he's going to pop into Earth so he doesn't get bursted down. Cleansing Water, so remove a condition when granting regeneration to yourself or an ally, and then going over to Evasive Arcana, so some similarities of course in the Water and the Arcane trees. So that's going to be very brief. I'm not going to go over it much more, we have not got the time. Let's ready up. Apologies if there's not much explanation about that. There is no Guardians. Guardians could be potentially something which are going to come back. Bunker Guardians. If you've been watching Sam from Made in Meta, that is something which is a possibility. Whew. Okay. Let's just have a look quickly what's going on in the chat and make sure. Oh, Red Cobra. There we go. Okay, so you are a dude. Thanks for doing this today. So while we wait for these guys to ready up, I can quickly take an attempt to have a look at some of these builds. Now, I wouldn't... This is TCG, obviously, going to be playing in WTS. I would not rely on... Maybe they're going to play like this in WTS. Who knows? But if I were them, I think, you know, maybe you wouldn't want to give all your tactics away. So he might be playing something very interesting indeed. So he's going to go for Vamp Rune. He's going for the Berserker Amulet. Full on, in their face damage. Going for Generosity over on the Staff, as well as Generosity on the Sword and also the Torch. Let's just see if he's gone for Moa. Going with Illusions, Dueling and Domination. Picking up the Pledge, so Torch skills remove conditions, so good condition removal through that. Maim the Disillusioned, there's still that Shatter, that Torment was bugged yesterday, so there's extra stacks coming off that, but still now 1. Master of Fragmentation, your Shatter skills are improved, so extra crit chance, Cripple, and also the Reflex on the projectiles there on the Distortion. Then Dueling, we're going for Decoy. Evasive Mirror, now this is an interesting one, and also going for the Deceptive Evasion, which is very popular, obviously, was normally the go-to traits, is so you can actually get your amount of close up that you need, and also, you know, when you're dodging, you're getting some benefit out of that. Confounding Suggestions, the Stun, of course, the Interrupts, still very strong. Shatter skills also remove a boon on hits, similar to how Frostball was running his, and then Mental Anguish, so Shatter skills deal more damage. This damage is increased double against foes that are not activating skills. So still going for the Shatters, but going for Interrupts as well. Going a little bit more bursty with this build. He's not going for Vitality over in that Zerker Amulet, so it's going to be a little bit squishier, but he's going for that Moa in a different tree. We are still waiting for people to ready up. I'm sorry if I'm going through the builds a bit quickly, but this is going to have to be the way it goes for a little bit of time. We are going to go to Lipion. He's not playing Warrior today. He's going to be playing Elementalist. Dagger Dagger, Holbreak Rune with the Celestial Amulet, going for that Stone of Heart, that crit, of course. He won't be able to be crit when he's in that Earth Attunement. Cleansing Water, we have seen this similar. We have seen him going for Soothing Ice, actually, which so gain regeneration and Frost Aura when critically hit there. And finally, he's going for creating an attunement-based spell after dodging, which was the regular trait that we did see in the build before these big trait changes coming up as well. Just hovering over for the sake of you guys. So we saw Executioner coming out from the other thief on the opposite side. Let's see if we've got Executioner here. We have not indeed. Deadly Arts, Trickery, and also Shadow Arts. He's going for Mug, of course, with the Panic Strike, which moved down the tree. Did that move down? I can't remember the exact number of the trait. I'm pretty sure that moved down a tree. And then we've got Improvisation as well. Going for Bountiful Theft. Okay, there we go. This is going to be very interesting. Two thieves running some differences here, so it's going to be interesting to see how they are on those 1v1s. Going for Marauder Amulet there as well. Celestial and Vamprune over on this Engineer. Tech Speed. It's going to be interesting to see what he's bringing out today. Still Intelligence, but going with Energy. So because we've not got the Invigorating Speed for Engineers anymore, you're losing some of that Endurance regeneration, of course. Still waiting for people to come as well to the game, but going for Protection Injection, Backpack Regenerator, and Throw Stimulant. So when you drop that heal, you do get that extra stimulant, you get that extra Fury Stimulant, which comes out of normally the Med Pack, which is pretty nice. Bunker Down is something which I think is going to be very useful in the future. It's going to be pretty nice. Yeah. So, exactly, like Helsa said in the chat, probably not going to play. This is the ESL Weekly Cup. We try things out in this cup. So I wouldn't take exactly everything that's happening here as meta and as solid. We are going to call this in a very summarizing way. I'm not going to focus on individual builds too much, but we are going to have a look at how this opener goes for TCG. Actually, is they're almost able to take Curve down very low, but he's able to Lightning Flash up to the top, as well as Red Levin, who's going to port up there with Helseth to make sure they can try and take out Curve here early on in the game. Good job from those guys. They already have the 1-up over Red Team currently. Lipion over on the Henge is defending 1v1 at present. Let's go back over to mid, as we have seen Curve still in the down state here. Frostball over on the side as well. He's trying to be approached here. We can hear all the mantras popping up. Now, mantras are going to be a very interesting things indeed, especially with things like Time Warp. It's going to be great for them to actually rechannel their mantras. Not used to saying mantras actually, which is kind of interesting. So there's going to be loads of different and new stuff coming up in this game we see today. Guns and Tools actually in his perspective at the moment as Tech Speed approaches him. We are going to see Toolkit pull coming out from him potentially, but he's going to dodge and just get away from Tech Speed. More kits is quite good with Celestial. Not really Condi at the moment as we see it, but he's going to be more probably with the bursty builds, and also with the Celestial Rifle, with the Celestial Amulet. It does go quite well in that power build as well, of course. Of course he has conditions and power in that build. Renegade in the decap over on the midpoint. As we go back towards the skirmishing bits in the roads at the moment, we're going to see that reflect coming out from the focus, as we see the focus trying to come on potentially Guns and Tools, and also Renner here. Good escape by Curve getting into that Shadow Refuge as Lord Helseth just dissipates in the background, as well as Tech Speed. Split out, maybe they can pick off a target here as we see them coming back. They are going to get some nice damage off actually. We're going to go into Frostball's perspective. Needs to be careful, does get knocked back by the overcharge shot coming out from Tech Speed. Needs to be very careful. Look at that cleave coming out in that Shadow Refuge as we do see Lord Helseth going down. Tons of conditions. The AoE interrupts are unbelievable, and Frostball pulls out the Time Warp to finish everything off. And they aren't going to finish everyone off, to be honest, but Red Levin does get pulled back there, and a good way to finish off Helseth. Was it wasted though? They didn't get many people down, but they managed to actually follow up quite well, getting the kill on Red Levin there. Good job. Curve able to pick up over on the midpoint. Renner now going over towards mine to +1 on this flight to make sure that they are going to be able to get... Sorry, +1. He is indeed going to +1. Couple of members over on this node need to make sure they don't actually waste too many people on the map here, but Renner caught in a bit of a difficult situation as Lipion gets a couple of burning ticks off there. They do escape through that portal as Helseth opens that up, and they go towards oh, sorry, my bad. That must have been from him. Sorry, my bad there. Might have been a tiny mistake about where they actually went back to then, but you're going to see Lipion going over towards the henge. You have to apologise, my voice is rusty as anything, and not only am I focusing and trying to think about the new trait system, but yes, I am alone today. Going into the perspective of Helseth here as he starts to push through this archway up towards mid. Also, Renner is there in stealth, waiting to pick up Helseth potentially if he's going to be the last target. He is going to be just waiting to actually get through, stealthing up as well. So we see this fight could be, it's just hovering around this archway as well at the moment. Frostball over on mid now with, Curve with Helseth there on the point. You can 1v1 an Elementalist a lot easier now. You've got so much more condition removal. I can't remember if that's exactly what Helseth was running actually. We'll have to double check as we go into his builds. He's not going for harmonious mantras, so he's not got as much condition duration. He's obviously not got as many charges, and he is going for that Ether Feast heal, but he's going for the main interrupt from Power Block, of course, which is very, very useful. As we see them moving over towards the mine now, looks like both teams in an okay situation. We've only got 50-point lead at the moment, but TCG do have the decap over on that mine node as well. But we are going to see Red Levin picking up the full cap. TCG 2 nodes in favour of them at the moment, as we are going to see Red Team pushing over towards the henge. When I say Red Team, I do mean the Blue Team. Probably should just say their colour names rather than anything else. Going to go down here just over towards that henge point as we go over to mid and have a look at Madrisma. That was actually not badly done there. Gotta say, it's not too bad. We see Texby in the downstate. He's going to be raised here as he goes back up towards the midpoint. Swirling Wings coming out as a bit of protection for their team as they start to get away. Actually trying to get that cleave down as well. Lipion should be able to pick up the node here. Frostball is going to come into the point. Nice updraft from him. He's going to put Frostball off node and get some conditions on him. But he probably will be okay in all honesty and will actually advance down to the bottom of the node. So actually, but in the roads to make sure that he can get some damage off and be more effective in this fight. They're not caring about the points at the moment. They want to get their damage off. Frostball trying to channel those mantras, and as soon as he does, Red Levin knows what he's doing and jumps on him as soon as very vulnerable state when you're actually casting those mantras as well. So it's very difficult for that to come out. Takes me quite low HP as himself, but he's got the assistance of Ilb there, so they can push over onto the roads and just maybe thinking about going for the push over onto mine. Not sure at the moment. It looks like TCG are regrouping as they only have one node on the map. Let's go into the perspective of Guns and Tools here, see what he's up to. Just trying to defend the mine really through that archway as he regroups here with the Elementalist on their side. The Staff Elementalist, of course, and we go into this 2v2 fight. Renner's starting to get that stealth combo off to try and pick up some damage nicely as well. See his perspective as he's actually going to go up to this midpoint now. So we see the Staff Elementalist is already engaged on the node. Helseth in the distance with Lipion on node. We're going to see some damage coming out onto Lipion. Helseth is going to start to do a bit of a jumping puzzle, although he has just dipped down as well. So they're not going to come out with a defense. We do hear the nice interrupt coming out from Frostball, and that extra damage that comes out from the Mesmer with that interrupt is just absolutely immense. So we'll try and keep an eye on the Mesmers a little bit more as we come back into this game. Portal left over on the midpoint. Let's just check who that is. It's going to be Frostball's Helseth over on the top of the node actually at the moment as Renner starts to attract. Oh, but he brings out the distortion and the interrupt as well, and that puts a lot of damage on him. Helseth does get the Vampiroon proc, but it's not going to help him. It does help him a little bit. He's not got many condis on him. Still got the poison, but nothing to really cleanse that too well. But he does get it off in the end, going back over towards the midpoint now. We can see that TCG have started to actually leave this fight. It doesn't really feel like they've lost it potentially, but more of a defensive move to actually move into a more offensive position later on in the game. As Helseth, you can see, is coming over to this node, and Frostball going to portal back to mid, essentially just checking the node to make sure it's going to be okay, and knowing that there was two members there as well over on this side of the map. I'm going to see Frostball move into mid, and also Curve staying on the midpoint, as well. Frostball moving to mine, rather. Interesting stuff coming out in this game at the moment. We are going to see Red Lemon just jumping onto Frostball. Really have to pick up those Mesmers. Even it was important before, it's very important now. If you can get like an AoE interrupt on the nodes, it's very, very painful for the opposite team, of course. Portal coming out as well. Let's go over towards mid. Lipion is being pursued from behind potentially, but that has stopped. So we go over to the mid node and have a look at Levin, trying to get that decap there. Helseth coming in for some nice damage, and also a mower onto Curve. Good job there as he comes out, and we all can see the Shadow Refuge as well, but we all can see the Time Warp coming out. Should be a nice res here. They did pick up where they were going, but the Time Warp used very effectively in this fight. They need to get back in it. Of course, the slow applied to TCG as well as they were running through that. So some of their moves were indeed slowed, abilities and actions, of course. So we're in this perspective of Curve at the moment. So Elementalist still in this Dagger build is become an amazing 1v1er. Was always an amazing 1v1er in that build, of course, but is now a lot stronger because of the conditions being so strong as well. But things like Mesmer and whatnot, who now got some more Condi removal, are fairly equal in this. So we're seeing some more equalized 1v1s, but maybe people would disagree with me when I say that, according to some classes and how they're working. Just over on the midpoint, still in Renner's perspective, he's going to get updrafted, and the burst comes out, and the combination of lockdown from Texby is going to bring him into the down state, unfortunately. Curve on no, trying to keep this point contested. Very close game, 280 to 289 to the red team, who are fighting on blue at the moment. Having a look over on the mine node, as we see Frostball is going to try and come over for the attempted decap. Ilb coming over as well. More potential now for him to 1v1 that Elementalist. Whether or not he'll go for it, I don't know. Especially as Lord Helseth and also Red 11 are coming over from the side, and of course that Chaos Storm applies some nice cleave pressure on the node as well, perfectly placed by him, as he's going to use that portal to just dip back over towards mid and get the 2v1 going, and he's been left here on his own. So Texby is going to escape, and we're going to see actually try and get the kill on him as well as the decap. They need to be very careful. TCG not thinking about getting the full cap back on that mine node, so easy decap can come out. They are coming back into the game though, and they have taken the lead by about 10 or so points. This is a very close game, especially with the way the meta is at the moment, which we don't know really where it stands. There's some basic builds, there's some general ideas, but it's very interesting as it goes. So Guns and Tools is going to go into the downstate here. Also Frostball able to get back up top there and just using that blink and also his phase retreat. It's going to be a difficult situation. To interrupt comes out to Frostball's. Helseth comes in for the attack there. He has used his channel, so there'll be a point in time where he wants to try and channel that back up, but needs to think about healing first before that does happen, using that Blurred Frenzy as a bit of damage and defense as he gets the stealth off there using that torch. Does think about getting the channel low as he does regroup with the rest of the team. Very safe, especially around when the person is downstated around this node. So not looking too badly at the moment for TCG, getting a bit more of a lead than they had before. Not a massive lead, of course, as they pick up the midpoint, moving over towards Henge now. We see Renner and also Mad, are we going to call him Mad? Yeah, let's call him Mad. The Elementalist over on the red team, of course. Lipion now coming into the node, and Dagger Elementalist star with Texby, so a lot of sustain on the point. Let's have a look at Texby. Engineers not sure they are having a massive amount of fun at the moment. That Mortar is very powerful indeed. Let's have a look at his build quickly, because I can give you potentially maybe some words about what he's doing here. Throw Stimulant Decay, so he's going to be picking up the extra heal if he does do that extra damage. Well, sorry, it's going to be very nice actually. That's when he drops his heal, he's going to be getting that extra burst from that Fury boon, of course, going for Protective Injection and also Backpack Regenerator with that Mecha Legs, which is the combined trait, of course, of Power Shoes and also Leg Mods. So not too bad combination here, very survivable, but also some nice damage orientated traits coming out as well. That Siege rounds, so the mortar rounds leave a longer lasting combo field, and also the Orbital Strike is an additional one time, and that is actually pretty nice. Not managed to test it too much myself, but here we go. You can see Texby is getting ready to re-engage here. Helseth, very good from him, popping the distortion just as Frostball is about to get that power block off. And he's going to be not going to be completely fine here at all. Helseth is going to go into the downstate and be full killed. Red 11 trying to get away himself as well. Still very close in the game. 50 points lead to now TCG. But Red team are coming back into this with the death of Helseth and also Red 11 being very low. He'll regenerate now and start to move over towards that mine fight. We have seen Frostball just making sure that no points are coming in for TCG at all. 2 cap for Red team as we see the big team fight coming out over to mine. Now they need to be very careful as this is the Red team spawn, and if they get a good team fight going down here and they get a kill or two, they'll be able to take this, and this is exactly what's happened as Curve goes into the downstate. We see the defensive Mad coming in there as well. Guns and Tools fearing for for his life at the moment as he tries to line the sight round the side of that point. We are going to go into the perspective of Red 11 to see if he's going to be able to pick up some nice damage on Guns and Tools. We're going to see that orbital strike coming out. Nice combination of moves coming out from TCG to lock down Guns and Tools, but he's doing a good job himself at line of sighting. Is he going to be able to survive here? This is going to be very awkward. He's going to be able to get the pickup. Helseth's going to bring out the interrupts as well as the stun for a little bit of extra damage. And we're going to get back over to the midpoint to see how well this is going in the 2v2. But it's very close at the moment. Only 11-point lead for TCG currently coming out in this map. Going into Renner's perspective, we can see him potentially jump onto Lipion. We saw a nice interrupt as well as swirling winds coming out there. Needs to be very careful. Elemental is getting right into that Shadow Refuge. Almost perfectly placed ring there. Good job from him to cleave up and push Renner out of that fight. So we are going to see a fantastic job coming out from them. Helseth going over towards the mine node as well, coming through that port with the rest of the team coming through as well. Go for the defensive move, but they know what they want to do. They want to go for the pickup on Svanir. They're going to get a very fast kill. Now from Bluesy coming in. They're going to be able to get it. They've already got 4 points left on the map. They've not got anyone to decap. Good move from them in the very, very good foresight in terms of putting Lipion on the point there to defend, easily contested. They can go for the early boss kill and guarantee themselves that 500 points. Good job from those guys as we see the first game played of these new trait changes as of 23rd of June. If you've just joined me, that's a lot of my voice all the time. I hope that was I hope that was informative as it could be, trying to get used to all the new traits and remembering all the builds and whatnot. It's very, very, very interesting indeed how we went into this game. So, just having a look at my chat as well, just need to see what's going on. Okay, so we're going to go over to Kylo now. We've got a new map voting system going on in the game at the moment, in the mode. ESL Weekly Cup, of course, is going to plus up TCG. Let's go back to cam so you guys can see my face. Hello, indeed. I am back and paused in a very awkward way. That was odd. Anyway, ESL Weekly Cup number 84. We are on the Battle of Kylo, of course. ESL, now you can vote for maps and ban maps if you come into the tournament. So this is what happens. We've got Forest, we've got Battle of Kylo, and then we've got Fofire. So there is a different map order to No Temple today. And it's been very interesting so far. Very close match, actually. It's still a lot about trying to suss out exactly what people are using, because there's so many different builds you could see. I mean, Necro, I've seen some crazy stuff in Team Qs and playing with different people. You know, we've got different Mesmer builds coming out from Helseth and Frostball. Frostball more around the mantras, themed around the mantras and interrupts. Helseth is still interrupts, but also with Shatter as well. Texby and Guns and Tools, let's just double check on their builds. We'll go back into game so I can show you. I am casting. He's going to be going for Explosives, Inventions and Alchemy, and then we're going to go over to Texby, and he's going for Explosives, Inventions and Alchemy as well. Explosives is pretty, I mean, we're not seeing Incendiary Powder in here, right? So we're not going into firearms for these guys at the moment, which is where, you know, a lot of their burning was coming from, a lot of that damage. So we're not actually seeing them being defensive and not actually maybe getting as much damage as they got off before. But things like aim assisted rocket and grenadier is still in there, so that's some extra pressure. Still got the vulnerability, of course, but it's not as maybe as much damage as before. Bunker down is still pretty nice as well. Is pretty nice. The medkit, really supportive. Mecha legs as well, you know, that really is useful. We haven't got this vigor coming out from speedy kits anymore. That's a big, this is one of the biggest changes for Engineer probably, which shifts the way they're going to play. Of course, speedy kits going into another tree and going into the second tier there, which, you know, brings out some versatility for Engineers. I'm very happy about that, but we're not sure where Engineers are going to be at the moment. It's going to take a little bit longer working this out, I think, but I think they've got the right idea. Elixirs are going to be much more useful than they used to be. Elixir Gun, which is probably one of the reasons why Guns and Tools has gone for that, has now got 2 extra Elixir abilities on it on the 4th and 5th skill. They're actually Elixirs now, counted as Elixirs. which is very useful, of course. He's going for a bit of difference. You know, Texby's going for that mortar kit, and Guns and Tools has actually gone for shrapnel, so for the extra bleeding. So that's where he's getting his extra damage from. But yeah, just waiting for these guys to ready up. Safe for me to talk about engineer, isn't it? Since I play as an engineer a lot. But hey ho. Welcome to the stream, by the way. Skirnick is stealthed. What? Okay. Right, what we'll do is, while we're waiting, we can run through the amulets and whatnot. So Texby on Engineers going for Celestial with Vampirism Rune. Ilba's using on Dogadaga Elementalist Celestial with Strength, so getting the Might stack, of course. And also the +5 percent damage while under Might. Haven't seen Strength for a while, so it's good to see that coming back. Helsef going for Berserker Amulet, but now in its truest name and way it's supposed to be, I guess, where you've got no vitality. You've got tons of damage, but no vitality. But he was doing okay. Rune of Vampirism coming to his aid very many times indeed. But Sigil of Generosity to transfer that condition on both sets. Let's have a look at AKA Lipion, who's actually gone over to a Power Ranger build potentially. He's gone for Longbow and Greatsword with the Pack Rune and the Marauder Amulet, so that's the old version of the Berserker's Amulet. He's going for Quick Draw there, of course. Would you? Yes. Lead the wind while wielding a longbow. Your attack speed is increased, of course, and then going for Wilderness Knowledge, so survival skills over in history. Survival, marksmanship, and skirmishing for him. Not much else going on in terms of changes on the map as we see it. Let's go into the perspective of Red 11 to see how they engage over on this node. Still a similar split coming out from TCG as they normally would, moving over to the node, trying to get this kill on the Elementalist and actually jumping on him, getting a lot of burst damage out, but he's going to survive not badly here at all. Let's go over to his perspective. He was in Earth, so couldn't get critically hit, so that's very, very useful for him to be on that point. Pardon me, in that back point situation where he can't actually be bursted too easily because of course he's got that Stoneheart trait up. So that's a very good idea, very good positioning to put him in there. He did of course go down in the end, but not as quickly as maybe you might have earlier thought. Halsef putting down that portal as well as also Red 11 dropping that Shadow Refuge. They're actually going to go back through the portal now and actually go back to mid to see if they can get anything out of this fight. So let's get back up to the top of the clock tower. Nothing's been knocked out from these guys yet either, so no one's coming out from the edges able to get any range or cleave damage from those points. So it would be quite useful for the engineers if that did happen. Of course, if it happens on one side, then the other team will going to have that option as well. Mortar kit is very strong. You can see an Audible Strike coming out as well, just in case anyone follows up. Red 11 jumping onto Renner there as well, and we can see a nice grenade barrage coming out from Texby. Good job from him. We can see the Vamp Rune popped. Texby got a couple of crits, which is what's giving him those more med kits there as well. So good sustain for the engineer. But is there as much damage? We'll have to wait and see later on in these games, of course, and as the meta kind of evolves. See Frostball moving over towards that mansion point now, getting into Staff, which we saw a lot less of actually in recent times. You know, Staff a little bit more defensive, but Phase Retreat is very, very strong still and very, very useful. And that Chaos Storm being put on the node, which is gonna close there. Whoa! Okay, don't need to talk about I'm not sure if he got the interrupt there, but the burst that came off from Frostball's rotation was pretty nice, and that's what took down Helsef in a very quick succession there. Texby is going to be moving on to Windmill now to try and defend that node in the 2v2 here, but he's heavily under pressure. A few conditions coming out onto him. We're going to see the Reflect as well coming out from Curve. Just double check that that is exactly what Curve is running now. Still going for focus indeed. Swirling Winds, and he's going to put down a ton of cleave. Texby having some problems here. Vamp Rune is not going to help him. He's going to be able to get on the point and maybe to get to his team to get some regeneration, but with Renner there as well in a down state, he's not going to be able to do anything about that down, and he's going to be taken out as well. Unfortunately, not as much kind of support able to, or condition removal from Ilb, obviously, because those cooldowns were already being used, and the water treatment, of course, as well. So it was very, very difficult for that Vamp Rune to be used very usefully. Obviously, Helsef normally the one who's around actually putting that portal out as well, which as the Vamp Rune happens, obviously, and the Mist Form and whatnot, they can get through that portal and move over towards another point of the map and get resurrected and brought back into the fight. Here, Helseth, unfortunately, sounds like he was indeed interrupted, and some bursts coming out onto him. As we move back into the midpoint, have a look at Guns and Tools. He's being pressured hard here. We see that Red Team are taking a massive lead at the moment of about 110 points. Say massive, but on this map it is considerably larger because we haven't got any points that can come out very quickly for these guys. So we are going to see Lipion is heavily under heavy pressure. Guns and Tools able to survive well here as he pushes Lipion. Does miss that overcharge shot though, and Lipion is going to be okay on the side of the node. He's going to start to range on point very shortly. As we go back in the general camera view of the midpoint, Ilb and also Mad are on node right now, and Lipion in the end does go down, not able to handle that pressure coming out from Renner, of course, and it is difficult when that thief does jump on you. Ilb now is going to try and offer some kind of regeneration and also trying to get a cheeky res just on the lower ground, not able to in the end. We're going to see that Earthwall coming out from Mad, which is going to stop any of Ilb's momentum across the node, and this decap is going to remain for now. As we go over towards the windmill, that's going to be picked up by Texby. Mansion is secured with Red Levin in the downstate as well. Didn't miss that kill. Looks like it was by Frostball there. But Ilb is being very brave, pushing over towards the point, being so low in HP, especially with Guns and Tools there. He's not going to be able to decap that versus the Engineer, especially in low HP, which is why he's actually disengaged. As we go back over to the midpoint, Chaos Storm on node at the moment from Frostball, which pushes members away, but Lipion can range on node, of course, and create his own cleave on the point, and he's actually going to pick up a potential kill here on Curve below, but not able to get that damage. Curve doing a good job at line of sighting, so Lipion cannot get any DPS onto him as Curve does start to push on Ilb. He's in a lot of trouble as he starts to move back over towards the windmill. He's going to go down with Guns and Tools coming in for some nice damage as well. Texby, he's going to be in a ton of trouble. Thinking about the disengage, as Ilb does move over towards the potential res. Nice swirling winds coming out from Curve, which really negates a lot of what Texby can do in that situation. Guns and Tools showing you that Toolkit is not dead. And the Vampiroon proc comes out from Texby and he tries to escape. He's pretty much down and out now as those conditions roll over. There's no support, no Condi removal for him as he goes into that, and that's going to finish him off. So discussion maybe is whether or not Vampiroon is still going to be something which is massively useful. Obviously, Vampiroon has a lot more uses than just, you know, helping you to negate some damage. If your team are around and they can take those conditions off you, it's very much like a second life or going for a portal and whatnot as well, and that's exactly what Frostball's going to do. Thanks for that timing, mate. As he moves back over towards the mansion to +1 this 2v2 here, we see that Red Team are picking up a commanding lead versus our WTS entrance into the Cologne fight that we have in August, of course. Not looking too good. Ilb's very low himself. A nice interrupt comes out. I'm not sure if that's what took him out in the end. Zive performs back onto node to keep that contested for a little bit of time. Curve just going to pick up the down there so they can pick up the node quicker. We can see a decap coming out from Lipion. Potential comeback coming out from TCG now, as Mad has been taken out below stairs by Red 11, and they should be able to get that kill. Low Frostballs here. I can see the knockback coming out from Lipion on that Lombo, and Mad, it's not going to be a massive use. Oh no, he's going to go for the res. Cheeky. Lipion is going to come in here. No interrupt able to come out there. Red 11 using that venom to get the stall onto Guns and Tools. But Guns and Tools doing a good job of line of sight here. Still using that toolkit pretty effectively. Trying to get some extra damage off by that throw wrench, but not in the end, as Lipion was using the Signet of Stone, of course. But now, just having a look at the engineer's point of view, Helseth comes in with a nice interrupt there and burst damage, which takes Guns and Tools right into the downstate here. But Helseth was almost taken out right from behind by Renner there. Needs to be careful, but Red Levin does come in for the rescue and gets a ton of damage back onto him, taking Guns and Tools still into the downstate. But Mad comes in. We can see a nice knockback coming out from Guns and Tools as he gets res. But again, Helseth tries to get the knockback and interrupt. Not sure if that's what he tried there, but Guns and Tools doing a good job in the end, bringing out the mortar kit, creating a lot of cleave around that corpse, and he's going to be finished off here. Red Levin not able to get towards here. Oh no, he is! Almost, but Red Levin decides to go for the extra kill, potentially maybe on Guns and Tools, not expecting that was what was going to happen. But Helseth in the end being used as a bit of a distraction tactic. Maybe Red Levin knowing that there was no way he was going to get him up there, and actually using him to his advantage to force Guns and Tools into an awkward position. as we go over towards the windmill. It's all about the cheeky, guys. We got Mad versus Ilb at the moment. This fight looks like it could go on for a little while, so let's go back over to Texby, who's been taken out here. We saw a time warp coming out, which I do apologise, I didn't get to in time. Lipion now in a bit of pressure himself as Curve starts to push onto him, pushing him over into this 1v2 fight. Sorry, 1v3 in favour of TCG as they take out Mad. Blue team, Red team, sorry, deciding to leave him to die as they do take the advantage, of course, because they've already got Texby and Red Levin fully killed on this node. A lot of damage coming out onto Lipion and needs to be very careful. Swirling winds as well negates any kind of range damage coming out from the side, and that means they are going to be able to hold on to this mid fight, of course. Red team fairly comfortable at the moment. They just want to hold the nodes the way they are. Texby going for a potential decap over here, as well as Red Levin, who's coming over in the distance. Texby is actually going to bail over towards the side, trying to drop those nails to get some cripple, but Frostball just moving over towards the midpoint now. Hell's efficacy is just in the distance, trying to get some range damage. Going to move on node now. Does have those interrupt channels left if he should so wish. Getting that Fury as well is going to be useful when he tries to pick up that situation. But some confusion is going to mean he's going to take some extra dots as well here as he tries to pull out his heal and does a nice position over on the candlesticks there on the side of the wall, going to Ilb's perspective now as it goes on node, and we are going to see him in the flame attunement trying to create some cleave, as well as getting the decap here with Mr. Lipion, and they're going to do a good job at potentially getting that. I was going to say they didn't stay on point to finish that decap off, and probably would have been able to, but they decided to move off node. I'm not sure where they moved to. We have seen Hellseth drop into Vapor Form, 200 HP as he pulls out that heal, but it's not going to be a massive heal, and it's only one. That Mantra heal is so strong at the moment. We'll have to see if that's going to be something that he'll use in the future, of course. Not giving any of his tactics away before that WTS as well. TCG very, it's probably quite advisable. So it's the ESL Weekly Cup. It's just worth the gems. It's good to scrim against these guys and try other builds, and then they can scrim in private and show you what they're going to bring in that situation. Frostball trying to advance over towards the windmill, sorry, for that decap, of course. Going to be channeling, as he channels that Mantra, he does use the portal, so the channel going through the portal as well, able to get that nice decap with that portal dropper mid. No one from Red Team picking up on that, unfortunately, but they're going to go for the fights over here on the mansion and defend the windmill when they should so wish, with the double team over there from TCG. Coming to this perspective of Lipion, who is going to have the just as Renner comes in as well, perfect. So Lipion is going to go very low, trying to get that stealth off from the longbow free, and is going to get away here using, of course, swoop in combination with different abilities. It's going to do actually fine, and he is going to block as he moves up towards the node to get some extra bear cleave out as Curve and Renner fall into the down state here. Tech speed quite low on this node as well, but that's only in respect to the fact that this team fight was engaged. Mad is going to go down as well. Red team losing 3 members. Mad just some vapor forming onto node to make sure that's going to be contested still, and the blue team they're not going to be getting any points out of these caps at the moment. Frostball is in the 2v1 situation now versus We're going to see the time will come in. Oh, the fire, everything that just came out onto Ilb. Well timed, and obviously that rotation is something which Frostball feels very confident with. We're going to see that Elb is going to vapor form off node. Red 11 going to go for the stealth. Res 3. What are they doing here? They're just going to let it happen, apparently, because we've got them stealthed up. There's nothing they could really do about that. Well, it didn't look like it. Maybe my eyes are very bad. Curve as he goes onto the node now as well. They really just want to tank on this actual point and just make sure that they win the game and that they go through to the next round, of course. It will go through to the foe fire, which will be our 3rd game of this series. Frostball goes into the downstate, but TCG may be thinking about coming to get a decap over on this node. Helsef, low health, is going to be checking that midpoint as well as regenerating himself, which is probably why he's over there. Guns and Tools going into the downstate here as well, as TCG start to take a bit of a benefit in this fight. But as if they do lose members, that means TCG is going to have to disperse back into the rest of the map. So they've got to be very careful about how they play this now, so they can maybe come back. But it's very much, you know, it's almost impossible for TCG to come back. They know what's happening. They've stopped playing pretty much. Red Living over on the side. That was the last push. And we will go into our 3rd map. Woo! It's been a while since the solo casted, man. Is my breath going to last? Is my mouth going to last? Yeah, the reason I said the stealth res happened, there could have been some cleave around there, just some extra pressure until they came out of stealth, so at least there was some AoE pressure, but not much coming out really in the pathway. But of course, Vapor Form and whatnot. We are in the third map. It's going to be interesting to see how this goes. It is very warm in here. I've got so many people asking me questions at the moment. Okay. Bear cleave from Mancow. Doing exclamation mark build will not work. Unfortunately. You know, it could be something in future. That's just going to happen. Yeah, if I'm solo casting the whole time, I've really got... I've got to do it, you know. Got to do it. Hello, don't follow. Nice to see you. Don't do caps, you will be timed out most likely. I can. I'm not guys. I have not got multiple personalities. But yeah, I can go through the builds if you would like to very, very quickly. We're going to call out numbers. It's going to be 1, 2, 3 in that way. In illusions for Helsep, he's going for 3, 3, 2. In dueling, he's gone for 2, 2, 3. In domination, he's gone for 1, 1, 2. We've gone to Ilb. Now that's very much... Let's just double check that actually. He's not gone as mantra orientated as Frostball basically, and the mantras are giving you a lot at the moment, so Harmonious Mantras gives you an extra charge, and in the build that Frostball's playing, those mantras do remove conditions and the healing as well that comes out from that. So there's a lot of sustain from that build. It's kind of tanky on Frostball, not Helsef. Ilb is playing Dagger Dagger Elementalist. It's still very similar, you know. The sustain is the key factor, the extra conditions that come out, but now that damage is increased. So 1v1 fighters, Elementalists are very, very good. They were very good before, but they could be considered almost the best now. We are going to see the Dagger Pistol coming out from Red 11, going from Marauder. But we're going to talk about that later, because I want to talk about the game. This is what's happened in the game. To see the red team who are fighting on blue team. I'm going to stealth move up here with Frostball and also Renner. Going to take that early. Again, the Elementalist being good on the back point with that Stoneheart trait, which, you know, shouldn't be able to crit him there, but he is, not sure that's what the achievement he was in. He was in that achievement, so he didn't get completely taken out, of course, so he's still going to get damage on him, just no crit. As we move back over to the rest of the points here, Guns and Tools has been taken out over on mid. Looks like Kelsef and crew went for that far push, but in the end didn't go over towards that node. They weren't going to be able to contest it for long enough, and did head over towards the midpoint. So I'm wondering whether or not there's going to be a portal left from Kelsef somewhere. I don't want to go in his perspective, as Red Levin has just almost been taken out here. Vampiroon as well as Stealth means he's going to be okay here for a moment and can re-engage when he should so wish. But he wants to get that Stealth back up so that he can re-engage at higher HP, possibly with Ilb here back on the node with versus Frostball. But Renner is watching out for Red Levin, who comes back onto Renner there. Helsef is stealthed in the background, does get that interrupt off. Sorry, that was from Frostball and Red Levin there, and Red Levin is going to pick up that stealth back towards mid. Red team doing a good job at pushing back towards the midpoint. I guess kind of confusing if you're listening and watching this, by the way, because the team that's on blue is called Red Team if you're here for the first time, and there is bound to be, because we've got 526 viewers in the weekly cup for ESL, which has been, you know, it's been a while since we've had 500. Normally get to about 350 towards 400. So welcome if you have just joined us in the ESL Weekly Cup in the semi-final between TCG and Red Team. Mad is trying to just defend on node at the moment with Curve. Did indeed see his focus ability coming out there with the swirling winds to make sure to negate any kind of damage coming out from Texby and also Red Levin. Didn't work in the end as Curve goes into the down state. We're going to see the staff wall coming out, sorry, the earth wall coming out from him as well. But the res, good job. Not enough cleave coming out from those guys. Kind of surprising there actually, as we see Curve is going to be raised. Maybe Mad's gone for the res trait, which I'm not sure if I checked over in Earth. Let's just double check. That AoE stability is very nice. Did he go for the extra res? No, he has not. I cannot remember where it is because let's focus on the game. Lipion over in the mid is going to be taken out here by that Chickenado finisher as we move back into Elsef's point of view to make sure he's going to be okay as he moves into that Shadow Refuge produced by Red Levin there. Going to use that Blurred Frenzy just to protect and also potentially get some nice little bit of cleave over on the side of the point. Red team should be okay on mid now, contesting that node very well as we go into the perspective of Renner here to get some nice damage onto Ilb, who does get interrupted there, but is able to lightning flash away, thankfully for him, and get some regeneration as he goes back into that water attunement over towards the waterfall. Now Texby 1v1 between him and Curve as Renner approaches him, and Texby not able to negate a lot of that burst, unfortunately, in his build, which is, I don't believe he was, I can't remember if he was running Elixir, Elixir S or Toolkit. I didn't double check in this game. So move over towards the midpoint now. We see Frostball coming in, trying to get some focus onto Helsef. The Mesmers are focusing each other pretty hard. Lipion being one of the main guys to be focused as well, as he's been changed back into an Elementalist. I choose you. He's playing Dagger, of course. Holbrack with Celestial Amulets. Just quickly look at his stats there. He's gone 3-3-3 in Earth, and in Water he's gone for 1-1-1 with Arcane going for 2-2-3, 2-2-1, sorry, in that spec. So it's a lot more sustain coming out from TCG, but doesn't seem to be working for them as well on this map. A lot stronger map for them, actually. Actually, most of their maps are pretty strong for them. Lipion now in a bit of trouble as he starts to move back over to Quarry to defend their only node. And if Guns and Tools entering into a good 1v1 situation, but obviously Texby is on respawn, and we can see the engineers fight that out for that node in the future. Curve now over on the waterfall needs to be very careful. Should doing okay in this fight. They should be able to hold this, as we see TCG members thinking about moving over, but not actually. They're going to use him as a bit of a distraction, and Helsef's going to come in from stealth, bringing out that nice combination of skills on the Greatsword, of course, to potentially bring out. He's going to shower up as well. They really want to take Guns and Tools down hard here, and are they going to get able to get the focus down? But Frostball comes in with some nice interrupts of his own, and we're going to see Slick Shoes coming out as well on Guns and Tools, and he's going to be taken to the down state with the Orbital Strike coming out as well. Interrupt comes out onto Renner from Helsef. He's going to be at a ton of damage with the cleave coming out from Red Levin as well. That is an immense amount of damage there, and they're able to get the Moa bouncing off these kills, TCG, as they are so commanding over on the mid, and Helsef gets that decap over on the portal with, oh, so close, almost getting it, not getting the Greatsword knockback earlier, unfortunately. Didn't choose to use it, but he does get the decap in the end as Curve. It does have to move off node. He's going to follow him though. Get that interrupt, you see? And that was a good job from him. Some nice damage, but not able to follow up as Curve brings out that Swirling Winds, which stops the range coming out from Red Levin, but unfortunately isn't going to stop the damage at close range there, and he's going to be taken out at the end. Good job from him for surviving for so long though. Guns and Tools there. He's going to try and defend the node while Curve is in downstate, of course. Renner thinking about the pickup over on the Quarry node now. Let's just check that this obviously is Frostball's portal here. And if he can't get the decap, he will join. There he goes, dropped it. No, he goes back through the portal. Instant. That's bugged. Oh yes, that's. I didn't know that actually. That happened earlier today. Anyway, Ulp here, just ignore that. Ulp here is very low himself as Lipion does come into the point. Nice burst damage coming out from Renner and the Frostball combination there. As Mad comes over onto this point as well. Red team, who are fighting on blue at the moment, do have a bit of a lead, but that's slowly going to go as we see the free cap come out, and this is where Red team like to have control of the map, or these members of that are playing together consistently to a degree normally like that control of Quarry between the Quarry and the Lord, or either that or Waterfall and Lord. They like that control of that area, so they can go for their potential Lord Rush later on. Mad is just standing at range now, trying to put that static field over on Renner's corpse so they can potentially get the res. Not unable to in the end to get that, and actually we're going to see Mad just moving away here, letting them contest the point. Curve versus Texby over on this side of the node. Texby is using full-on old school, which is only last week. Let's go for Slick Shoes there with the toolkit and the grenade kit, as well as mortar kits. Big change for him. But he does get bursted down by Renault. Jumps on him almost immediately. He's not going to get out of this here, and unfortunately he's going to get taken out. This is going to be a good situation for Red Team to come back in. They just cleave him down, put down the poison field as well. Red Levin probably is going to jump onto someone here. They need to be very careful, and he does. And as he does, we're going to see Guns and Tools and Renner just jump on him straight away. They need to make sure that they don't. Oh, look at TCG pushing onto the point to contest it as well. They've got great control over this map. Red Levin really suckered them into that fight there. Over on mid, though, because of that, we've seen a bit of a decap happen as well. Helsef just over on the side, getting some pressure himself as he comes back onto the point, putting out Mirror Blade and trying to get the nice interrupt himself. I don't think he does in the end, and he's going to have to just line the sight to regenerate himself and actually keep an eye out. We're going to see an orbital strike coming out as well, as we see the rest. They're going to pick out this point. Interrupt coming out. Oh, that damage coming out from Frostball there, and that combination, as well as Renner just coming onto him as well, trying to get the healing from Lipion from that breath, from the water attunement, of course, as well. Chaos Storm is very strong, but we're going to see the nice res coming out from TCG, and they're going to be able to sustain, but they're not going to be able to sustain the free cap, and Red Team are going to pick up the extra node. TCG moving fast towards a Lord kill. It does feel that this is the way the game is going to end, as we go into Red Levin's perspective, moving over towards the midpoint, trying to get down Frostball here as he picks up the port. He is going to port back through. Ouch! Unfortunately, in the end, not going to be the best move for him as we go back into the midpoint fight and take a look at what's going on over here. Lipion now trying to get some focus around the point and just offering some regeneration to Helsef there, as well as the rest of his members, so Helsef can move off and just get his positioning again. But Renner is really on Red Levin as we see that prop coming out as well. He gets the stealth and moves out. So we see a nice interrupt coming out as well as a stacked field, and there's going to be so much CC around this area where you can just kind of cleave around. A good job from both teams to potentially end this fight, but nothing coming out from it in the end. We're actually going to see that Texby has advanced over towards the other side of the map, negating any point coverage coming out from Red Team there. As we move back over to the mid, we have seen Renner take it into the downstate. A horrible place to be, but they're going to bring out the Time Warp from Frostball as he does get the Time Warp res, as well as also the slow and everything else that comes in. The resistance that comes out from Time Warp is immense. So, you know, you can get that resistance, you can get that super speed, you can get also the quickness, and also the slow. So that slow is great. They do take out Helsef here, and that Time Warp is really what switched up that situation. Very strong Helsef in downstate. They need to go for that decap over on the waterfall, but they may need to think about potentially resin Curve here. Not going to happen. Lipion in the downstate as well over on mid. Are they going to get this decap? They need to get it quickly. Curve is going to die here, but Red Team do have the advantage. But Red Levin is able to come in with the Shadow Refuge and potentially res up Lipion here. Does Vapor Form to the side, but the stealth does run out. They're going to get the res here. The Shadow Refuge was obvious. They lost 2 members. They weren't able to come back up, and TCG have done it again. They've actually just held the map, losing 2 full members, and playing Red Team into a position and just holding them, distracting them while they don't move into the rest of the map. Guns and Tools 1v1, you should be able to get this decap here. Maybe not as easily as he used to be able to, but we're going to see Red Team moving for a potential Lord, so maybe they're in the better position at the moment. Frostball has that portal up at the moment, trying to get that red gate down. Unfortunately, it looks like it's some issues. As we go back over onto the midpoint here, and just have a look what's going on. All of TCG are here, and it really feels like a sucker in. Guns and Tools already there. Portal moves down. Curve is going to move through for the regeneration. We're going to see Guns and Tools already going for that move over on that point, but they still need the node. They need to get a cap here to make sure they get to 350 so that the Lord actually counts, and it's going to be worth it. They're going to be able to get the kill, which is going to take him a couple more points as well. But they must know what's happening. Blue Team have to go through to the boss, but he's already been met, pardon me, by Texby and also Helsef here. This is really late in the day. They're not able to get a cap. If they win this team fight, maybe they could do something about it. We're going to see a nice pull coming out as well onto the engineer there as we move back onto the node. They need to be very careful. They're not able to get the decaps. It's 490 points. There's nothing they can do. Ilba's over on the waterfall. This is game for TCG, and they really counted that. They counted that Lord Rush well, not by not letting them move towards the 350 point marker, and also the push from Helsef and Texby there from the gate over towards the quarry. TCG take it 2-1. Good job to Red Team. Good job. Oh, wow. We're going to have a break so my voice can chill. Whew. Thanks guys for joining us for the ESL Wiki Cup. I am solo casting, so that would be why I'm doing it. I'm kind of going quickly, but hey ho, it's all good. Excitement and hype. TCG remain. Final will be here. Actually, for exit need to map rotate and change on voting. GG's to these guys for coming out today, being very brave in coming out for the new trait changes that do come out in Tuesday's patch. Sorry, a couple of days ago, so not that long to give them the opportunity to practice. Of course, hopefully I've not been paused in an awkward position. I have. Thank you, camera. Don't know what's going on with you. Anyway, ESL Weekly Cup 84. Gonna go to a break, guys. Thanks very much for joining us. Get yourself a coffee, listen to some tunes. Have a look at the builds, maybe, if you remember some of the builds, and just see maybe, oh, what could I have used in that situation, or how is this helping me as a player at the moment to try and think about what I'm going to build up in the future. Thanks very much for joining me so far. I'll see you very soon. Take it easy. We have the final coming out next. Hello everyone, and welcome to my camera stalling for some reason every single time we come back. It's a Weekly Cup number 84. I'm casting it this evening solo, so welcome to you, and appreciate you guys coming out today to check out what's going on and what exactly is going to be used by these guys tonight, because we just had the big trait changes coming out only 2 days ago. So not only are they gauging what they're going to use, but also I'm gauging what I'm going to use in trying to cast this for the first time. So it's been very interesting so far. We saw some interesting builds coming out, some very similar builds from before, which are very safe as well. But also there's a different thing happening here as well. TCG, of course, are coming in with, you know, the teams have got the teams have got a potential to cause a lot more surprise in their builds now going towards WTS. We've only got a month, just under 2 months. Oh God, less than that. Jesus, like 6 weeks before we go to WTS in Cologne. So it's going to be very interesting to see what in the end comes out when we get towards that that kind of time period for TCG and also Orange Logo, who aren't playing today, obviously. Rom's still away, I think. And maybe people are trying to keep even a lot more things closer to their chest. Let's go into game. Check out exactly what these guys are going to be running. TCG over on the blue side. And we're going to have Toxic Community, who came through the other semi-final into this map. It's extremely warm in here. I'm going to put my fan on, so apologies if that noise is annoying, which is potentially the case. I'll turn it off, it is. Anyway, Forcemeister, let's go over to him first. We saw TCG, so we will highlight these guys first of all. And he's going to be going with Elixir X first of all, so that AoE mower. Of course, Engineer's now getting that F5 skill of the Toss Elixir X, so that is a mower. And it's also going to give him mites, so he's going for HGH, looks like. Over in the alchemy tree, so he's going for HGH, backpack regenerator. What's really good about these trait lines, just to talk about it very quickly, is the fact now that you can go full on. You have to go full on into these lines, so a lot more availability comes to you, especially things like HGH, which could be something in the future. And you don't need that many elixirs if you go for something like the elixir gun, which he has not actually gone for here. He's gone for Slick Shoes, Toolkit, and Grenades, which is actually what we saw in the meta before we hit this big trait change coming in, but not with the combination of HGH, of course. Inventions and alchemy being very survivable. Automated medical response used to be an adept, is now a main trait you can pick, as well as Mecha Legs, which is now going to probably replace Speedy Kits, because Speedy Kits is in tools, which is not as massively useful as it used to be, because that's what it was useful for, really. And that was obviously with the toolkit skill reduction and also extra damage. But of course, going for aim assisted rocket, which is what Texby actually took in the last game as well. Shrapnel, which is what Guns and Tools was going with. Bunker Down is very good at the moment, so when you get that crit, you get the proximity mine, and also a med kit, so there's the addition with that build as well. The reason I'm talking about Engineer more is because I really know it a lot more than the other builds. But we're going to go and see our first Guardian. It's Gemcaster. Normally he's playing something damage orientated, and he's going to be going with Rune of the Ogre, which is going to give you the Summon Rock Dog, of course, as well as the Power Ferocity stats and the extra 4% damage. Marauder is the old Berserker stats, and that's what that's been called now. Going for, not going for any two-handed weapon here, going for a Sword, Torch, and the Scepter with offhand focus there. So he's going to be going with some burning in this build. Pardon me, and this is going to be the first, he had to be one of the first Condi Guardians to see coming out actually. So he's going into Valor. So he's gone 2-2-2. So he's gone here for Smite Condition, of course. Strength in numbers, obviously very good with the toughness there. Monk's Focus, getting that extra fury from the meditations, of course. So he's running 3 meditations. So it's almost a meditation Condi build with burning, of course, because that's what the main condition that Guardians put out. Right-handed strengths, the critical chances with one-hand sword are increased. Full-on damage coming out from Mr. Gemcaster here. Retribution, so he's going for increased damage while under the effects of retaliation, and also for amplified wrath, so burn damage increased. Of course, would be going what he's going for in this build. It's pretty useful. Virtues, of course, we know the standard indomitable courage and resolution with the Condi removal and stability, and then the unscathed contender, so more damage while in the effects of Aegis, of course. Naturally Aegis, which you're getting over time anyway, because it's just your natural ability, of course, until that's taken off, so he's going to have that, and of course when he gets that Aegis from his virtues. So having a look at Terron here, he's going to be playing Sword Warhorn. Looks like he's still going with Shoutboy Warrior. Let's take the traits and see how much this has changed. Closing Ire, Defy Pain, and also Dogged March. So not much big changes there. Quick Breathing to reduce recharge on Warhorn skills, of course, and getting a Shake It Off, of course, as well as the Vigorous Shouts, which is obviously not changed. Burst Mastery, as well as the Destruction of the Empowered, and going for Warrior's Sprint, so run faster while wielding melee weapons. So for the sword, a lot more availability there apparently. Not going for Correct Shot there, obviously, because it's a rifle ability, and Vengeful Return. Not going for that either, which, you know, in the future, you never know with options, but that melee weapon speed is a lot better to go for, of course. And we're going to see our first Necro today, and I have not seen him playing this character for a while. So Shizo is going to be playing with Signets over on his Necro, and I know what this is about with the pain. Going for Power, Might, and also with the Rune of Fire there, of course. I'm going to ask these guys to ready up. But he's going for the Sentinel Amulet, so he's going a bit tanky. We're going with some of that power as well. So Staff, Axe, and also Warhorn, and those signets. Let's have a quick look here. Signet Vampirism, which I've barely ever seen. So heal when struck by a foe, heal yourself, and mark a foe. Applied players. Allied allies, sorry, will siphon health from that enemy, so life siphon there to stay alive and whatnot. Signet of Spike, getting those conditions on your opponent. At the moment, you know, those Condis are very, very strong. Corruption, of course, Corrupt Boon, sorry, we know all about that. And Plague Signets to transfer conditions from nearby allies to yourself as a passive, and then send your conditions to your foes. So he's playing kind of a tanky build here, obviously, going around that Sentinel Amulet, which is very obvious. Going for Spite, Curses, and Blood Magic. Going in for Spiteful Renewal there, so consuming those conditions when he hits someone below the health threshold. And then we're going to go for Spinal Shivers, which we know everything about. Signets of Suffering, so reduce recharge on Signets. Signets grant might when cast and convert boons on affected foes to conditions. So there's a lot of Condi clear, as well as obviously removal of both boons and also conditions on the team. So this is going to be a pretty nice build. Very tanky. So when your conditions are meet the threshold, your next critical hit will cast Plague Signet on your targets. Blimey. Plague. That's going to be pretty nice. Okay, going over to Furious Demise. Necro is one of my weekly classes, so I'm kind of looking at this as I go for it. So Terror, we obviously had Terramancer before. That's going to be very useful, as well as Weakening Shroud. Getting that weakness off as well is going to help in team fights. It's kind of supportive in team fights, as well as also putting out a lot of condition damage, but also power focus damage as well. And then going into Blood Magic. Cast Lesser Signet of Vampirism on your foe when you inflict bleeding on them that matches or exceeds its threshold. Then Banshee's Wail, so reduce Warhorn skills, which we know everything about. And then Transfusion, Shard skill 4, heals and partially revives nearby allies. Up to 5 downed allies near you teleport to your location while you're channeling a Shroud skill 4. So the 4th skill on Death Shroud, ultimately supportive. So Shizo wants to go for support on this build, and this is where they're getting the support from, and also the Shoutboy Warrior. Thief Schmoozy, and sorry if I kind of battered that as I was going through it, so apologies for that. DP Thief, he's going for Deadly Arts, Shadow Arts and Trickery. Going for that Executioner build there with the Shadow's Rejuvenation, and also for that Sleight of Hand for that Daze, of course. So very good. Going for, yeah, Hidden Thief, Panic Strike as well. So you can really combo Panic Strike up with Executioner now. Ow. Thieves, please. Anyway, let's go to the map. I'll stop talking and let's check out these splits as we see the teams come out into a mid-fight here potentially. It's going to be very interesting to see how we see the DPS and the Condition Guardian coming out, as well as also the combination of that kind of supporting Necro build. As we see teams coming out stealth here. Looked like it was a bit of a lag spike, but it wasn't indeed. They were kind of just wandering around there. Not sure exactly what happened. Could possibly have been some kind of lag. Red Levin low as we saw him engaged below in the roads here, but between the keep and actually mine, as we see Gemcaster, and also let's go into Gemcaster's point of view, see how he's going to open up in this build. Being very, very cautious, these guys, at the moment in this game. Got some focus down below at present as well. It's going to Lipion. He's playing Ranger here. Has gone into his Asura, so he could have gone for a bit of a different build. Going for short bow now, so more Condi orientated more than likely. And he's going to be playing with that Rune of the Crate with Rabid Amulets. Also Sword with Offhand Dagger. Sword gives a lot of mobility, of course, as well as the Dagger putting on some nice conditions. And he's going to be going for Wilderness Survival, also Skirmishing and Nature Magic, opting to go for Empathic Bond there. Nice ability, as well as the Light on Your Feet and that Protective Ward. Red team unfortunately going down over on the midpoint, say Shizo and also Force Maester there. Not much sustain for them in that fight, unfortunately. I did miss a bit of that as I started to go through the build, so do apologise there. But we've done that now, and now we can focus on the game, as Terran's having a couple of problems here over on this mine point. We'll get some support shortly though, as we see the Thief coming in from the side, and let's just go into his perspective as we see him trying to assist on this node. Maybe TCG pushing a little bit too far there, although we are going to see the retreat there of Texby. He's going to be playing the Elementalist now, switching over from Engineer, of course, going for Arcane, Water and Earth. Going to be playing Dagger Elementalist with that Holbrak Rune and Celestial Amulet. Obviously, when we see that, we think sustain, we think power, we think also condition damage, just general sustain and support for your team. Lipion isn't going for that. We see a nice amount of damage coming out from Force Maester there as he brings out the Elixir X and gets that Juggernaut off. This is going to be absolutely... That was so much damage coming out from Force Maester there from Elixir S. Absolutely insane rampage there. But unable to get that damage off from that fourth skill on that rampage. They weren't able to follow up too nicely. But in the end, it did cause a lot of damage to the players on TCG's side. But they will be able to advance back onto him. Maybe thinking about potentially coming out. And we are going to see the banner drops. Lipion going into downstate here over on the mine as well. Now look, this game is very all over the shop and confusing at the moment. There's some random builds being played as well, and a lot of testing, it looks like, is going on between these teams. So Shizo not able to do anything over on this Henge node, unfortunately, from Ilb. He's very sustainable. Looks like the Necro just not able to perform in the same way there. Helsef does get the res from Lipion over on the mine node as he comes back onto point, trying to drop that Mirror Blade and burst combination onto Terran, not able to get that interrupt. But we are going to see the damage coming out onto Red Levin. Helsef does try to use that knockback with the Great Sword, of course, to potentially stop the down of Red Levin, so could potentially go for a res, but unfortunately not able to in the end. He's going to be immobilized from behind by the Guardian as well. He's going to bring out that sword damage, which is really, really powerful, but Helsef is going to be okay for a moment here. Distortion and Vampirin proc, he's in a lot of trouble. No one able to come to his rescue, and the team members of Toxic Community able to bring him down, but TCG able to almost pick up the free cap there as 5 members almost collapse onto Helsef to really get that kill. Probably not the best mood for them. Ilba's just covering the nodes now, looking at the mid and also Henge. TCG probably going to back out of that mine fight as Gemcaster starts to move over towards the mid node. Does pull out that sword, trying to get some nice damage onto Ilb, of course, and getting that increased damage through his traits as Ilb now comes over towards the midpoint. Nice Immobilize comes out as well as he stops him from advancing on that node. Rest of TCG members can come in now as well. Red Levin coming up from behind. Does get some nice damage on him from the red team Thief as well, actually. as it just comes up to the point. So, sorry, Thief Shanuzi, as Red 11 does engage in this skirmish 1v1 fight off point, and we see Gemcaster 1v1 versus Ilb over on this node as well, trying to get that Rogdoc up proc from his runes, so it give him some extra damage. TCG being very commanding in this game so far, as Lipion does come on node, and that build he's running is very condition orientated, of course, but has a lot of survivability as well, so he's able to sustain himself very well with Texby in this fight. But the conditions come out from Seishizo, no dodge or anything coming out from Lipion, unfortunately, and that really burns him down quickly. But they've got the sustain, the red team as well. Let's go into Seishizo's perspective. We used a lot of cooldowns with that, and now is able to drop into Death Shroud and actually maybe Plague Form as well. Plague Form Stomp, we are going to see him try and go for that. He's not going to be able to get it because he gets taken into downstate himself from TCG members. So Shizo going to lose out here, but as that damage comes out onto Lipion, he's able to do still a lot of downstate damage. And Lipion goes into downstate as well. Texby and also Red 11 trying to come in for the res. Are they going to be able to actually bring him up here? It's very risky. He's still in downstate quite low. I don't think this is going to happen, as we see in Texby's perspective here. He's trying to regenerate himself, moving back towards that fight potentially, but just trying to keep them at bay. As we see Toxic Community pick up that henge node going over towards the midpoint. Thief Shamuzi does get the decap, but not the full cap here. As Harsef does actually has to get back here. Actually moves back towards Ilb to really sucker in Shmuzi there. And great teamwork from these two members of TCG, as they do pick up a nice kill and actually get the advantage back in this game to potentially come back. Still, TCG have a lot of map control with their positioning, of course, but we have 3 members here from Toxic Community trying to pick up this mine node. They do indeed, but now they need to watch out for that henge point as well. We see the Moa coming out onto Force Maester here as well. They're going to be able to easily hold this node. Lipion gets the decap. They should get the full cap as well, with no contestation coming out from Toxic Community. In fact, no contestation coming out because Seishizo has gone down in this kind of 2v2, 3v2 fight, which only Terran has only just entered to as well. So have a look at Gemcaster's position now. You can see how much damage he's pulling out onto Texby there. Ton of conditions, but we are going to see Ilb coming in as well to release him of some of those. And Gemcaster doing a good job at just trying to line a sight on the lower level there, but having a problem. He's going to get back onto the top of the point there, and we see that Death Shroud, Shadow Refuge put down as well. Shmuzi being taken out from behind there by Helsef, with that interrupt more than likely, as well as the extra burst damage that comes from that combination of the Great Sword, and able to shoo away the rest of the red team so they cannot get the res. We're going to see an Elixir X pop! The first Elixir X pop coming out from Forschmeister there, causes some problems, but still they are going to lose Thief Shmuzi, and that is a really, really nice way to use that ability to stop the momentum of the other team, turn them into mowers for God's sake, and you're going to stop that momentum and their focus onto targets. If they might sometimes, well, I was going to say TCG would probably not do that, but most teams on most occasions would probably just Scarper. They would distance themselves, and then, you know, you could pick them off one by one. It's very much just like, it's almost like an interrupt, really. I see it as, to be honest, more than anything else, because it's very short time, but it, you know, it can really interfere with team fights here. Unfortunately, not able to get the benefit of that because they were trying to res, of course, as well. Seishizo being covered by Force Maester's Rampage. Nice movement from the red team, actually, as well at the moment, and Force Maester is able to come back onto Red 11, but nice damage comes out from Helsef on the side. Interrupt as well. Seishizo good does go down. Combination of Six Shoes trying to come out from Force Maester there to actually regenerate Seishizu. He gets back up here and he's going to be fine, but he does get focused still. Used a lot of cooldowns before, so it's good to keep that focus off from TCG. Good job from them. They're able to take him into the down state, and we've seen Force Maester as well into that down state just in the waterfall area below the point. TCG likely to pick up a free cap here, and that will probably be almost the game. Last comeback potential coming out maybe from Gemcaster. Can you come back versus TCG low that well? I do not think that's going to be very easy. They do start to potentially think about going for a Svanir push. Texby coming over towards the mine as well. Watching out for these respawns. TCG looking like they want to end this quite quickly as we go into Seishizo's point of view and watch how he's going up against Texby in this 1v1. Still holding on to those utilities, of course, very useful versus the Elementalists, as of course he does have a ton of boons, so you can switch those into conditions or release him of those boons, of course. And yeah, looking quite good for TCG at the moment. We did see the potential for the mower to come out there, but did miss that, unfortunately, as well. Still, 2 caps at the moment have been D caps, but I think we're going to probably see some kind of boss kill if they do decide to go for it. But, you know, they don't need to at the moment. They've got a considerable lead. They've got 475 points versus 90. A lot closer between Red Team and TCG in the previous games that we did see here. So if you want to check the broadcast of that later as well, of course, you are more than welcome. Helseth wants to finish it with a Chieftain kill. As we go back into the perspective of Red 11, not helping out with that. Helseth is free to go for that kill there. No one really approaching him. We're going to see the kills and coming out on the map. No boss kill though for Helseth, as we see the game has been taken by TCG, first in series of the ESL Weekly Cup. Number 84, the final goes to, first of all, TCG. Still another game for Toxic Community to come back, of course. So looking forward to seeing that. Boom. Good to see if you've just come into the chat. And second map is going to be Kylo, which is the second time in a row. These guys can vote for their maps now in this. In the way we're doing the Weekly Cup, is a bit of a experiment from Oliver Briggs, head admin over at the ESL Weekly Cup. Or, I'm not sure that's the correct title. I like the way how Melisandra said, this game is all over the shop. Jebro describing the average PvP player right now. The reason that is because I just think there's so many choices for people to make. It's going to be it's difficult almost. It's interesting casting it, let alone playing it, because you're trying to pick up on different things on the builds that have changed, and obviously as well as trying to focus on the rotations and everything else, and doing it solo is kind of tough. If you want to know what builds are going down, we can just quickly go through them. I'm going to call numbers. Top trait is going to be 1, and then down to 3, of course. Forcemeister playing Celestial Rifle. Engineer going with a Vampiroon. He's going for Explosives, Inventions, and Alchemy. In Explosives, he's going 1-1-2. In Inventions, he's going for 2-3-2. And then Alchemy, he's going for 2-3-1. So Shizo playing a very tanky supporting Necro build. Whether or not he's going to change that, it looks like he has. He's going for Power, he's going for Zerker, he's going for Traveller. He's going for Staff with Dagger, and he should be going for these traits. Close to Death, he's going for Death Perceptions for the increased crits, and then Vampiric Rituals, so well siphon health every time they pulse. So some health, some nice siphoning skills coming out for Necro, of course. As well as these cool little icons that appear above your bar now as well. So reduce obviously the recharge and Warhorn skills. So he's going for more damage now here. Regenerate Life Force as well coming out from that trait as well that I was just hovering over. And Spiteful Renewal there, as well as the Chill of Death with the Spinal Shivers and Vital Persistence. So slower Life Force drain while in Death Shroud, which is very useful, especially if he's doing a lot of damage. First ability, of course, and the 4th skill. So going over to Terran very quickly, I was hoping that was going to be a lot quicker. Shoutbow Warrior! Yes! Celestial with shouts. Condition cleansing, supporting the team, bringing out a banner to resurrect his compadres. Great Sword has been the switch over for Gemcaster with that Scepter, and also offhand focus, going for Vampiroon with Celestial Rifle. Celestial Amulet, sorry. He's going for Valor, Honor, and Virtues. Over in the Valor tree, he's going for Smite Condition. Communal Defenses, getting that extra... getting that Aegis, grant Aegis to allies when you block an attack, my bad, so that's nice defense there for the team as well. Heals on Meditation, of course. And then over in the Honor tree, we're going for Protective Reviver, not much difference. Well, more tanky though, it's pretty good actually. Pure of Heart on the heal, and Force of Will, and then we've got the Indomitable Courage and the usual traits over in the Virtues tree. Sorry, I was just having a look for myself as well. As we go into the map, we're going to go in perspective of Schmoozy here. It's probably using Panic Strike with, Execution there. The combination of that in the same tree is nice, to say the least. As we've seen them stealth up, going over towards the midpoint now, so they're just dropping some marks behind them as they move into the point here. And he's going to be able to heal and get back up here as well. The stealth thing, we need to be very careful here. So Shizo in Death Shroud down below as well, trying to get some damage here off onto Texby, who's still playing over in that Elementalist form. Not going for the Engineer now, as Lipion is over on the side, going for... He's still going with that Condition build here. versus Terran on this point, so he can sustain himself. He's going to get the +1 from Helseth, but Gemcaster is coming over as well. Forcemaster goes down just below over on the clock tower at the moment as well. Another decap comes out from Thief Schmoozy. He wants to get back into the map now to support his team and +1 where he should need to be, because, you know, he's kind of being outnumbered, although Ilb is going to move back over to that node. We're going to see that Terran has quite a lot of issues here as he tries to get out of the points, and Cleave coming out from Red Levin. That's not going to be enough in the end, and he's going to have to disengage to a degree. Can sustain himself, but Shadow Warrior is probably having a little bit more difficulty at the moment in terms of damage. Shadow Refuge comes out. The Terran does miss that as he wants to get back onto the point to support Gemcaster here. But it does mitigate some focus damage, and knowing exactly where he is in that area of the map, of course. Seishizo is going to be under a lot of pressure over towards mid, using that worm to port back up to the top, I do believe, and needs to probably think about exiting this node now. And extra damage that comes out, as well as that Doom tick that comes out from Texby, is going to bring him into the downstate. Helseth in downstate as well. Let's just double check these runes. That was indeed the sigil from Doom, of course. Let's have a quick look over towards this side of the map. Seishizu down, Lipium very low as well. Helseth going down over towards just below Clock Tower, trying to escape from that windmill point, as we've seen team members from a Toxic Community respawning into the map. TCG starting to get a bit of a lead here, but have lost 2 members. So now really we need to see Toxic Community take advantage of this very quickly. But Texby comes in for the res. Is it going to be possible? Lipion not able to get up here, unfortunately. And of course he does go for the pet heal, trying to pull a cheeky one, but not able to get it in the end. Thief Schmoozy does get the stealth confirmed down as we go back over to on the windmill, where still TCG are contesting that point, even though losing almost 2 players almost at exactly the same time, able to sustain the map in outnumbered cases, of course, as we see Forcemaster coming back onto node, getting that elixir rest with a nice knockback, and that's going to be really good on the midpoint, of course, unless we see some stability coming out from these guys. And not exactly, they need to keep dodging, and that enables them to get the decap. Very good job, but it does also mean that Forcemaster does not have many defensive skills to keep him up. So decap mid for the red team at the moment, and still not able to get a cap back for a while now, pushing away TCG Texby as he moves back in to potentially contest that node, being very brave here, although is against Seishizu and also Terran. Although Seishizu has changed builds, so he should be able to take out Texby quite quickly. Whoa, so much damage. I don't think he's going to be able to get away from this. If he does, that's a touch. Unfortunately, not able to in the end, as Red Levin comes in for potential stealth res. Not able, although the mist form, vapor form comes out, and Red Levin still cheekily tries to keep the point contested. Love it, chill as anything. And we are going to see a potential decap coming out over here on the midpoint. Helseth having a couple of problems over towards that mansion node as well, and does get taken out and finished off by Thief Schmoozy, as we see Lipion trying to go for that potential decap versus Gemcaster, and also Thief Schmoozy. Thief Schmoozy could come over here for the quick kill, but you know, maybe Gemcaster can sustain this in the 1v1. He's doing a good job as it is at the moment. He's got some condition removal as well, so it's not too bad versus the Ranger, so he's going to be in an okay position, especially if he can get some burst off. But the thing is, Schmoozy should have stayed for that respawn of Texby, and that's why we're going to see him coming back now, but it probably would have been useful to take him out quicker. Lipion is going to be the main focus target of Schmoozy, not able to defend a lot of that burst. Puts down the heal steal from Lipion as well, and the cleave pressure is maybe not enough here, especially if the pet gets the res off as well, and they're able to get the res up. Now needs to be very careful with Gemcaster here. Terran can get on the node now as well, and they're really powering back with the full free cap, as they've been focused so hard on this fight. It seems that the red team Toxic Community have been able to free cap TCG here, and we see a member of their team down over on the midpoint. TCG unable to get back into this map other than that start kill cap over on the mansion. Now it's safe to say that they probably let them have that. They just want to pull the guys off the node, maybe get the kills and hold them in this position, but unfortunately they are going to lose the cap over on the midpoint. We're going to see the Lich form coming out from... Whoa, Jesus Christ. Okay, he did switch... I didn't actually pay attention to that. Did I see a Lich form? Okay. I'm not sure exactly what's happening here. The reason I have not still picked up on the fact that Helseth has changed into Necro, I've not focused him at all, and that's my bad. I do apologise for that. So just as I went on to that point, I've not really been aware of Helseth, I guess. And normally I would as Mesmer, so that's very characteristic of that. So I apologise of that. I didn't actually pick up on that. I knew that I saw that he changed to Necro, but I just assumed he would switch back to the Mesmer. I'm not sure why. So I do apologise for that. We're going to see Forcemaster here trying to take out Lipion. That Rampage is proved very useful in some situations, but for using full use of it here, on this mansion fight now, as Lipion goes down completely. We go over towards the mid fight now, Seishizu and Shmuzi able to take out Ilb there. Good job from them as they can sustain the rest of this map. Not as much mobility coming out from TCG, of course, not having the Mesmer in this fight. But Seishizu does get taken out mid. Shmuzi going for the stealth res there, but Red Levin does try to put down some poison on the node to potentially cleave out the guys and to actually stop that res. Mansion seems to be all where the party's at the moment. If we head over towards there, Texby under, not really under much pressure, although it starts to come now as they start to get really funneled in that stair area up towards the point now, and they move on to the cap. Very, very even now across the map. TCG trying to think about the defense and attack of mid, as we see Red Levin just guarding the windmill now, and we see that Red Team Toxic Community are not able to hold these points as it was, but they did come back very strongly. 60 points in the lead at the moment as Ilb tries to get back on node to keep the point contested. So Shizo in this 1v1 might have a couple of issues unless he can pull out a nice amount of burst damage, but does bring in that Plague Form, which brings in 37k HP, which is, you know, horrible. But the thing is, he's got no defense, so those conditions can just burn him down. We know fire, we know burning can do a ton of condition damage at the moment, so it's not going to be a problem, and he's going to have to nip out of that before he goes quite low as well. So over here, over on the mansion node as well, Gemcaster pulling out that greatsword. He gets interrupted while he tries to perform that well from the greatsword, of course, which does a ton of cleave damage and burst, and that gets negated completely as Fishmusi goes down over towards the windmill in this 1v1 between himself and Red Levin. While he's in the down state, he does bring him into vapor form, but will go down in the end, of course. Unfortunately for him, we have seen the kill of Seishizu over on the midpoint as Lord Helseth pulls out the Lich form. Let's double check his build to see what he's running. He's running with that Rampager amulet at the moment as well, which feels kind of nice and strong, especially in this build where he's going for Soul Reaping, Curses, and for Spites here. He's going for Foot in the Grave, so he's going to be getting that stability when he enters Death Shroud, which is very nice, especially for downing as well. Gives them some nice utility, as well as stability on the point, unless, unfortunately, he's gone down. So I'm talking about some positives, as he has been full killed on this map. We can see the respawn coming out from Shmuzi. No one from TCG really there, although Lipion was on his way to the point to make sure that wasn't going to happen. He's going to be off node, and they're going to get the decap there. All going down over on the midpoint. DC coming out from TCG, as we see that Texby has been dropped from the game. Pardon me. So yeah, looking interesting at the moment. Red team wins. These casters, I know, it's terrible. Remember, I am casting this solo at the moment, also dealing with all the different changes. I'm not going to defend myself, but you know, there's kind of a lot going on in the map at the moment. So missing one person, changing a build, I'm over it, so should you be. So as we move back into the game, Forcemaster very obviously in downstate over towards that windmill area. TCG able to pick up the windmill cap. Forcemaster being very brave at trying to self-res, especially while Lipion is literally looking at him. Terran keeping mid now, as we do have an AFK coming out from the red team as well. And so she's coming into the point, does get immobilized there as he tries to move up towards the node. TCG Texby moving on to put a ton of cleave over on Gemcaster, who might have some issues at trying to keep this point in his favor. It's very even at the moment between these two teams. A lot comes into it, and I think, you know, we're used to some portal play coming out from Helseth and that mobility, of course, and he's in a 1v1 versus Terran over on mid, which is a nice position. If you can fear him off node, he should be able to get that decap in the future. Of course, it's have a ton of fear, but also say Terran has a lot of Condi removal as well, so should be okay for the moment. Gemcaster does a ton of AoE cleave there onto the corpse of Ilb, and they're able to take him out clearly. TCG Texby does get the moral on him. Nice move comes out there. Jesus Christ, from the engineer, and that's something else to get used to as well, remembering that you can indeed cast that mower with that F5 ability. I was about to say Mesmer, and you know, that mower is just, it's very nice, especially for that situation. And in combination with that Elixir X as well, if you can get that combo off, use it effectively, it's very nice. Especially with HGH grabbing yourself some extra might. TextBeat is having a couple of issues here as he does get approached by Seishizu. I think he might be alright actually. I don't think Seishizu is going to be able to finish him off. As Red Levin does engage Seishizu, which really stops any extra damage coming off onto him. As we go back into Red Levin's point of view, he needs to be careful here himself. Does get immobilized by that third scepter skill, and we're going to see him fade away. Just need to be careful. He's just poking over on the mansion really more than anything, but two people on the red team are staying there, so that's kind of a mistake on their behalf, and really what a good job from Red Levin. Force Mason under pressure again as we go in his perspective, moving over towards the midpoint now, trying to put some grenades over on the node to put some cleave up. He's going to be okay for now. Let's go over towards mid. Windmill is completely safe. We're going to see Helsef coming over towards a 1v1 potentially versus Gemcaster. Could be an interesting 1v1, especially while Red Levin, the combination there, you see them moving in now together as a team, communicating, saying they're going to move in on node, which means Red Levin can team up with Helsef quite easily in this 1v1. Thief Shmoozy does know, of course, that that's happening. Stealth comes out. We're going to see a stealth Lich form coming out from Helsef here. It's going into his perspective, see how much damage he's pulling out. There's quite a lot of damage coming out, but it's also got some focus onto him as he does get that stability ripped off him, and when that happens, he gets almost completely taken out there. It does pop into Death Shroud, and it's really it's not actually taking its toll too hard. He's doing a good job actually, our Helsef at the moment, trying to survive in this build, but he needs some support from team members. He's not really got it at the moment because, of course, we've seen other people down on the map as well from Red Team, not able to sustain this. We've got a lot going on for Toxic Community on this map at the moment. They need to try and take advantage of anything at the moment. Not able to sustain the map like TCG, of course, when they've got two members down, but they need to watch out for the fact that they've lost two members. They need to hold on to this single node to make sure they stay in the map and stay in the game. If they do lose Mansion, it's going to be almost... It won't be impossible to come back, but it's going to be very difficult. They do lose the contestation now. But Helsef, they pick up the kill on him. Terran's also down as well across the map. Helsef, potential res coming out from Tisby with that Armor of Earth, and the Shadow Refuge coming out from Red Levin. Great support on the team, and they'll probably hit this back over onto Gemcaster as he drops quite low. Fish Shmoozy panicking, kind of does move out himself, but moves back on towards Helsef. That's a good target to pick up for him. Not able to get the kill with Red Levin, and also Tisby coming in from the side. Fish Shmoozy going to port up towards that area around mid and potentially try and get that decap on the point. We're going to see Seishizu potentially going down here versus Lipion. It's not going too badly for him, but this 1v1, oh no, Lipion gets some nice conditions on, but Seishizu trying to hold his best over on this point. Lipion goes down over below, does indeed go down to that Plague Res Stomp. And we are going to see over towards the mansion, TCG potentially thinking about the defense versus Force Maester. Are they going to be able to get on node in time enough? They're just regrouping, they're being patient, they want to get the kill. Force Maester has some nice stability as well as Boonish, but we are going to see those conditions coming out onto him. He's trying to hold it for as long as he's trying to get some kind of decap. But obviously, you know, he's in a position where being on that point, it's not doing much for him. 1 minute left in the game. We have seen TCG picking up the map, unable to bring themselves back into this series. And that is the end of that.
Did you see that?
Oh. There we go. Oh, probably Helsef will be sad to know that I actually didn't notice the fact that he did switch to Necro, so I apologise for that. Otherwise, guys, that's been the ESL Weekly Cup number 84. It's been an interesting one. Just say GG and map chat. So yeah, as you can see, TCG have taken this ESL Weekly Cup number 84. It's been great to cast with you this evening. Again, it's been a long time since I've solo cast, and it's kind of tough. I don't remember it being that tough, but it doesn't really allow you for a lot of thinking time, and I'm quite old, so you know, I need more of it. So it's been good to see you guys. Thank you very much for joining me for the ESL Weekly Cup number 84. We'll be with you on Sunday for the ESL Go for Guild Wars 2 Cup, which should be very interesting. We're playing for cash, so what are people going to bring to that party? Are they going to be focusing on their main builds? They're moving towards WTS. Are we going to see Orange Logo? We're going to see TCG. We do not know yet. We'll have to wait until that time approaches. Otherwise, I've been Jebro. It's been nice to see you guys. Come back soon. Why not? Be good to see you. It's been the ESL Weekly Cup number 84. TCG taking it versus Toxic Community 2-0. See you very soon. Take it easy.